My name is Jessica Doyle with the Prowler here with girls varsity soccer head coach John Bowen for another episode of Coach's Corner. Coach Bowen, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Other than that.
At the beginning of the season, what goals did you have for the team?
Just to get better. Individually, collectively, just try to improve as we go and do as well as we can once we get to the playoffs if we can qualify.
How has the team developed throughout the season?
Pretty good. We're having a little trouble just maintaining our intensity and our focus for an entire 80-minute period, but that's not that uncommon considering how many new players we have this year, and it's taken a while for everybody to kind of gel, get on the same page.
What was the most difficult challenge you and your team has faced this season?
So far, just getting used to each other. I mean, personally, as far as like outside the field, just meeting a bunch of new people and trying to be comfortable in that group, and then on the field trying to understand everybody's tendencies and where they play, what kind of balls they like. Just kind of, like I said, getting everybody on the same page is always the issue when you have such a big turnover.
How have you faced that and moved past that kind of stuff?
Well, we're in the process. I wouldn't say we moved past it. Really, the easiest way to face it is just take it head on. Just make a point of getting to know people, make a point of bringing people into the group, making sure they're comfortable, asking questions and talking on the field. That's the biggest thing is, talking, communicating. When something doesn't go right, having a conversation about, well, I don't want this pass, I want that kind of pass. I thought you were doing this. No, I was doing that. Okay, now that makes sense. It really all boils down to communication and being willing to be open to, some differences in how things have gone in the past, and those people that are new to the program kind of getting adjusted to the intensity and the pace of a high school game.
Has the team done good at communicating those needs and wants? Yeah,
so far. I mean, it's always kind of tricky. We've got a fairly large underclass group, and the upperclassmen, of course, their juniors are upperclassmen for the first time. So every year, everybody's always settling into new roles, so it takes a while to get there. And then also you also have to deal with the dynamic of getting settled within your role. Like maybe you had a different picture in your mind of what your role is going to be this year, and now that we're about a third of the way through the season, it's not looking like the way you thought. So can you maintain positive disposition and being like, all right, it's not what I thought it was going to be, but I'm not going to get what I want unless I'm doing really well with what I have now. And so that's the trick is can everybody kind of flip the switch in their mind and be like, all right, whatever my role is, can I do my absolute best and be a positive influence on the team while I'm doing it?
Yeah. You mentioned having a lot of underclassmen on your varsity team this year. How has that impacted the team?
It's a trick. It's not as bad as with the boys soccer team because a lot of times there's a huge difference between a freshman and a senior just physically. One's 6'3", one's 5'2", one's 200, one's 120. You don't have that as much in girls, but you still have a difference where everybody's experience so far has been playing with and against people their own age. And so now when you get into a high school environment, it's much more like college where the other people on the team might be 3, 4, 5 years older than you. They might be bigger, faster, stronger, whereas in the past you've always been the biggest and fastest and strongest in your age group, and now you're playing somebody that's bigger and faster than you. How do you adjust to that? So that's always the trick. And the longer you get into the season, the less that becomes an issue because you get used to it, you get used to the pace, you start picking up your own pace, you start adjusting to these things. And so it's really difficult early, and then the further we get into the season, the easier it should be.
Now, today, what does your team need to work on?
Like we said, just that communication, trying to make sure that everybody's on the same page, and then having the intensity that we need for an entire 80 minutes. Like we've been good in spurts. We've been really good in shorter spurts. But over 80 minutes, we're still having either like a focus issue or just maybe fitness is not where it should be. But something causes us to let down. The biggest challenge right now is when something bad happens, can we respond to it? Because everybody, something bad happens, it's, shoulder slumped, not as excited anymore, here we go again type of thing. And you got to move past that and get to the point where no matter what's going on, we're pushing, we're working hard, we're doing the best that we can do for all 80 minutes the whole time. And so that's always kind of what we're pursuing.
How do you plan on working with the girls to get to that point?
You do it mostly in practice with expectations. We talked to the leadership team yesterday about it a little bit. We have 4 young ladies, Lauren Gutshaw, Addison Smith, seniors Maddie Deffler and Paige Panos. They're responsible for communicating with everybody and making sure they're comfortable and know what's going on. So we had a conversation yesterday about you guys have to set the standard. You have to make sure everybody's early and on time. Everybody's working as hard as they can, pushing people to excel and not just accepting what they're willing to give in the moment. And so that's always tricky, especially with a female sports team, because, emotions do run high sometimes. And, a lot of times it's, well, I don't like you. And suddenly I don't like you turns in, I'm not giving you the ball. And so we've been pretty good in the past about always working around that and getting to the point where it's like, all right, we're all here. We're all working for the same goal. How can we help each other? And so that's the process. And we get that early, and now as we get more and deeper into the season, it becomes much more important to, okay, I know you're trying your best, but can you give me more? And getting comfortable enough to, everybody's comfortable when things are going well, but when things go poorly, pushing each other. All right, that was fine, but I know you can do better. Let's go, pick it up. We got to go again. We got to go harder. We got to go faster. We got to go longer, whatever. And so it takes time for everybody to get a comfort level and an understanding with each other where that doesn't lead to animosity, but rather is like, okay, you're right, let's go.
And you talked about leadership. Out of the plenty of girls on the varsity team, who really shows that?
Well, you always want it out of your upperclassmen, and I think for the most part, our upperclassmen, our senior class has done well with that. The leadership team specifically is chosen because they tend to represent that. They've shown that over the 2, 3 years, 4 years they've been a part of the team that they are a leader, either by example or through encouragement or being vocal or just always working hard or whatever. So that kind of sets that up. And then underneath that, we still need, like, let's say you're a senior but you're not on the leadership team. All right, that's not necessarily a bad thing. That needs to be more, you still have a role to play. Senior year is your last shot. What are you getting out of this? Are you willing to let someone else settle for giving less than their best when it's your last opportunity? So your leadership always comes from that leadership team and those senior class. They're going to dictate what happens, because I can dictate it all I want, but if I'm the only one calling for it, then it just turns into, well, coach is mean or whatever. Whereas it's a little bit different when your captain or your seniors are like, hey, come on, we got to go. This is not acceptable. That's a little more push and a little more emphasis into getting things done. And so, like I said, we've got a good group as a leadership team. We've got several other seniors that step up. Alexis Chapman does a good job. Hannah Jacoby does a good job working hard every day, making sure that they set their standards high. And Carrie Consolino's joined us. We got a huge group of people. Ashley Ledford that's come in that's new as a senior. And all these people are setting standards, either technically, tactically, or just what they give every day in practice, to where, okay, this is what it needs to be done, and this is the level everybody needs to do it.